Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jumpin here, and I'm going to be bringing you another Mass Effect 3 gameplay commentary. Today I'm going to be using a very special build. Someone recommended I would, go ahead and make it and try it out. This is not my build. This was on the forums and things, but someone left a comment, just gave me the idea, said, make the Geth Grenadier. That's what this is. And he didn't give me the build, but I just it was pretty obvious what to go for. So go ahead and show you why this is the Geth Grenadier. Is because this build uses the Falcon, which is the grenade launcher assault rifle. Definitely, I'm really glad about this build because this brings this gun back to being really good again. For the mods, I'm gonna highly recommend extended magazine and extended barrel for extra damage. Alright, so let me go ahead and get into the build. Now, one thing about this build, if you're going to use the grenade launcher, you definitely need to play on host. Just try to remember that. I'll get into that in a second. Alright, for the first option, definitely damage. It's going to increase all damage from your, everything. Now, you could go for melee damage. I like the recharge speed just so I can be able to spam my cloak and my mine, things like that. So I do suggest this. This build's not really about meleeing, which is kind of a good thing because it's not as douchey as the melee build, but it's still pretty douchey, I gotta admit. And then for the final one, definitely bonus power. You definitely need this because, just so that you can shoot your proximity mine and set up, your massive, kill feed. Alright, for your proximity mine, this is definitely the most important power you get. Pretty much you're just going to go for damage across the board, damage taken, and damage, boom, all damage. For your hunter mode, definitely go for power recharge. This is going to increase the cloak to come back faster. The only power you're really going to be needing to recharge is your cloak. And then definitely rate of fire. This is going to increase the rate of fire of the Falcon, which is definitely needed. It goes up from pretty much it shoots every 1.5 seconds without this, and it shoots every 1 second with it. So it is a big difference. And then for the last one on level 20, I'm not level 20 yet. Definitely go for damage. This is the way to go for your mine, for your Falcon. Just damage across the board. Really amazing. Definitely for your Neckward 8i, you need to go for damage and capacity, just for the power damage bonus and the weight, and then definitely power damage. If you were to not use rate of fire and you were to use, a shotgun or something like that, you can actually get this proximity mine up to about 2,000 damage. For your advanced hardware, you just leave it at 3. Let me go ahead and show you my equipment I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using assault rifle rail on 3, cryo rounds 3, and power amplifier 3. Another really good, if you're going to play against Reapers, I'm going to be playing against Cerberus in this, but if you're going to play against Reaper, use incendiary ammo. This can set up fire explosions very easily, and with cryo rounds, you're going to be able to set up cryo explosions very easily. So let's go ahead and get into the gameplay. Yeah, like I was saying, this build is really, really nice. I'm really glad someone commented and told me I should try it. Like I said, I don't really know who to give credit for this build, but like I said, it was on the forums or something like that. I didn't look at the forums, like I said, I just looked at my comment and I was like, hey, yeah, that sounds like a pretty rad idea. Let me try this out. And yeah, I absolutely fell in love with this. Like I was saying though, this is a host-only build, meaning that you have to be host of the game to use it. The Falcon just does not work right when you are not host. It just really doesn't. It doesn't explode right. It doesn't register right, things like that. Now, early on in this game, I'm going to be kind of failing. I'm not going to lie. I had really bad accuracy with the mine. This was a warm-up game for me. Now, this is also going to be on silver difficulty. I will definitely bring out a gold difficulty, probably maybe even later today or early tomorrow if you guys give me enough likes or enough comments or whatever, just like the video, and if I can get enough, I will definitely do that. But like I said, early on, I'm going to be kind of failing, but it gets better, especially by wave 3. From that point on, it's just going to be ridiculous. But like I was saying, this build is really fun. It really is because, the proximity mine on this guy is so ridiculous. Like I was saying, if you wanted to play this off host, I do recommend just making this a shotgun infiltrator. And then for your hunter mode, instead of going for the rate of fire, you should go for power damage. If you add up all the damage, all the percentage, it's just I believe it's 300% more damage to proximity mine. That is outrageous because that thing starts with 420 damage. So 300% of that, I don't even know for real how much damage that is, but I think I had a rough estimate of about 2,000 something maybe. So yeah, that's really insane. You can take down shields on gold in one hit, and then they're going to take 20% more damage. The way you want to play with this is that like I said, if you can't tell, you hit them with the proximity mine, and then you just start shooting right away. And the beautiful part about it is that you'll stun enemies so easily. Like, this thing is a phantom destroyer. You know, it just does a lot of damage. The only downside to the Falcon is that I don't really like it for taking out big enemies. I really just think that it's not like the best gun against like boss levels, but the proximity mine is definitely a great thing against boss level enemies. So there's something you got to think about, like what you can do. As you can tell, like, this thing can just practically kill. Like, the proximity mine can practically kill almost every enemy on silver. So it's like super overpowered. And I done this on gold once when I was level, I think, 16, and it was like we had no problem with it. If I do come out with the gold gameplay though, I was thinking that, you know, what I'm gonna call it Debuff City, meaning that it's gonna be like all of us together are going to be saboteurs. The way that would work is that, and I've never actually done this before, but what we were thinking about doing is making, because apparently there's like been some like discussion, and like it has been confirmed now that proximity mine does stack, meaning that if you shoot an enemy with 2 proximity mines, instead of them taking just a 20% extra damage from all sources, they're going to take 40% more damage from all sources. So that's really crazy. So the idea for Debuff City would be that we would use things that debuff. It would be 1 Solarian Infiltrator for energy drain and proximity mine, which will give in, and then of course this guy as well, the Geth Infiltrator for the proximity mine. You know, with 2 proximity mines, that's 40%. Then we would use a probably Turian Sentinel or something with warp, so that we can more likely a Turian Sentinel, just so that. And right here I'm gonna get dropped, but then I'm just gonna get myself up. You know, this guy is a weakling. You got to keep that in mind, just like most Geth are. But you know, like I said, like I just was not playing good right here early on. In Wave 3, it gets better, and it gets a lot better from that point on. But anyway, like I was saying, you know, so the other character that we were going to use more than likely would be besides the 2 infiltrators with proximity mine, we would probably use a Turian Sentinel with warp, because if you go for expose, that's 15% more damage from all sources, pretty much. Weapons damage, power damage, that's about all sources, not melee of course, but so, you know, with that 15%, that's going to bring it up to the total of, I believe, 55%. And then if we were, and it also will weaken armor by 25% with Pierce from the warp. And then if we use a Quarian Engineer, that was going to be the other character, with Cryoblast, that's going to give us 25% more damage from all sources, which would bring up the total to 80% more damage dealt to big enemies like Atlases or Phantoms or Brutes or whatever, or Banshees, things like that. And then your Cryoblast also weakens armor by 25%, so that's a total of 50% weakened armor. So I just want to see like how that would work. That, I think it would be ridiculous when you know, like, God, 80% more damage from all sources, and you know, like I said, 50% weaker armor. Like, I think in about a blink of an eye we will kill any big enemy. As you can tell, this guy is the ultimate, well, not the ultimate, but kind of ultimate like getter of multi-kills. I mean, this is outrageous. Like I said, you just run up, you shoot the mine. Now, you know, radius on the mine is really good now. It goes up to 4.5 meters when you go for a radius, but this thing by default has 3 meters. So all you gotta do is shoot it in the general, you know, direction of them, but always aim for the ground. Don't aim at them. You know, that's a big no-no. You just don't want to do that. You know, it's just 1,000 times better to hit the ground around them, and then if they explode with it, you know, you're gonna just be able to wreck them. Now right there, like, sometimes you will miss, but there's a couple tricks that you can do. Like, if let's say I missed and I shot it behind them, behind the enemy, then if you use this gun, and look, I already got 75 kills in wave 3. That's ridiculous. But if you use this gun, like, this gun can, you know, because it stuns and because it's a grenade launcher, you can actually like push them like backwards into the mine, and that's funny as hell when you can do that. Like I said, I really like this class now just because it brings back the Falcon to be a useful gun. I did the one video with the Falcon on the Turian Soldier, and you know, on that class too, you can build that kind of like this, but it wouldn't really work because you wouldn't be able to just shoot the proximity mine first and then use marksman. It just, you know, it just wouldn't work. But You know, with that class, this grenade launcher works okay as well. But like I said, the main thing is this though, guys. You really have to play on host for this. But if you wanted just to run around with like pretty much the strongest power in the game, which is, you know, like I said, if you have all these buffs, it is hands down this proximity mine. Like, it's probably the strongest, you know, single hit power now in the entire game. Maybe not as strong as, yeah, it's probably stronger than Ballistic Blade. I just think Ballistic Blade can do a lot more damage just in general to all enemies. But, you know, like, in general, just numbers, like, this thing is hands down, like, the strongest in the game. So if you wanted to just use the power and not necessarily use the grenade launcher and just play with randoms or play off host and things like that, then yeah, I would just recommend any type of shotgun, Geth plasma shotgun, whatever you want to play. Just play at close range, run up, hit them with the proximity mine, and then shoot them to death. You know, you got to take into account that, you know, they're going to always take 20% more damage after you hit them, so that's absolutely amazing. Now, during this game, I was playing with one of my friends and one of the members of the clan who is Gold Pac-Man. Now he's gonna have some lag out issues this game. Or really, no, it wasn't lag out issues. It was disk unreadable issues. You know, it does happen a lot in this game. It can be very annoying, like when it happens to you, but it does happen. So, you know, now one good thing about Guardians in this is that Guardians with this gun can be somewhat of an issue. If you hit them directly in the face with this thing, it will not deal any damage to them. But if you were to hit them like in the side, what I mean is like to the right or to the left of them, you will deal damage to them and you will be able to kill them. The beautiful part about this setup though is that that's really not an issue. They're not an issue at all, because with the proximity mine, that is going to look at that. Wow. That is insane. Like the feed, I mean, you just own the feed with this gun and this proximity mine. It's outrageous. But like I was saying, is that if you hit them with the proximity mine, it's gonna flicker back their shield or flinch their shield, whatever you want to call it. And then you can shoot them. You get one good hit in with the Falcon, and what's gonna happen is after that one hit, they're gonna freeze, like right there, and he starts to fall over, and they'll drop their shield. So that's absolutely amazing. Like I said, I highly recommend cryo ammo with this gun, just because in one hit, this thing, if they don't have a shield, this thing will freeze them in one hit, which is amazing. And then if you hit them, let's say there was a guy who you hit one time, and if you hit him with the, and right here, Gold Pac-Man is going to rejoin. But if you hit them with the proximity mine, then yeah, they'll cryo explode. And same with the incinerator rounds. One shot of this will set them on fire. And when they have no shields, of course. And then if you hit them with proximity mine, they'll fire explode. If you want to try this does work against, I've tried it on every faction, and it works fantastic against every single faction in the game. It annihilates Geth. For Geth, I would probably recommend Disruptor ammo. For Reapers, like I said, I recommend you know, incinerating ammo for fire explosions. And then for Cerberus, definitely cryo ammo. Cryo ammo has always been really good against Cerberus. Just, you know, just to help you out, you know, to freeze these enemies and make them, like right there, that was a cryo explosion because he froze and he fell on the ground, and then I hit him with proximity mine. The way those things work, I've told you a couple times in other videos, but I still get messages, I still get comments all the time asking me, how does a fire explosion work and how does a cryo explosion work? The way those two explosions work, they're totally different from the other two, from tech bursts and biotic explosions. The way that they work is that you have to set them on fire or freeze them, meaning that they have to not have a shield. That's the first thing. They have to be down to their health. And once they're on fire, then if you can kill them with a power, meaning that a grenade, a proximity mine, or even if they're weak enough, like overload, things like that, if they die by the power, they'll explode into fire or into ice. And you know, they're pretty decent. Like honestly, the fire explosion is not that bad. It's one of the stronger explosions in the game, but it just doesn't have the radius to be like that fantastic. But anything close to them that, you know, it hits, it will kill. Now look at this. This is when you see a room stacked with, you know, enemies like this, you're gonna be like, it's time for a field day. I mean, the other thing too, like I said, is like you'll also get a lot of assists with this. You'll get a lot of kills. You'll get, you know, you can, like, this character is great. Like, when it comes down to medals and things, you'll definitely get your 75 assault rifle kills, your 75 kills, you can easily get your melee kills, you can get your assists, things like that. You can't, now one downside of this gun I don't like is you can't get headshots, but that's really not a big deal. Yeah, but you know, boom, like just you just, you know, and hunter mode's really gonna help you out a lot with this. It just does, you know, just the ability to see the enemies through walls and things like that. You know, I really think that this is definitely one of the best weapons you can, you know, put on them for any weapon. Like, probably the best weapon. The only other weapon that would be good is going to be the javelin, which also, guys, I will be coming out with. I'm pretty confident at this point that the javelin has won this week's Fun with Guns. So more likely, you know, sometime this weekend I will be putting out that gameplay and, you know, that whole episode of Fun with Guns. And I will be using the Geth Infiltrator on that, so I will also be showing you the Geth Infiltrator sniper build, or at least the one I use for my sniper build. And right here I'm going to walk into this room and get instantly dropped by a nade. You know, I always talk about that. I hate that so much. Like, why was there a grenade there? You know, there was enemies there, of course, but there was nobody was standing right there. Why would they chuck a nade right there? It don't make no damn sense. Like, but they do it all the time, so it really doesn't matter much. Alright, one big thing about this Geth Infiltrator is because he's such a weakling, one thing you really need to try to do is after you get done killing enemies and stuff, especially since you're not melee, you will be able to keep your shield for the most part. You know, if you get shot, of course, you're going to lose your shield. But one thing you can do with this is that, you know, just make a, like, subconscious, like, decision every time that after you kill a group of enemies to not cloak right away. Because if you don't cloak right away, then you're going to be able to get your shield back, and, you know, it's going to help you stay alive longer. That's one reason why this guy, you know, is just not douchey like the melee build. The melee build will definitely go down a lot, and, you know, can just be really annoying because you'll run around, you'll steal everyone's kills, and then, you know, boom, all of a sudden, you know, you get dropped a lot and your teammates have to get you up. That's just would be annoying to anyone. You know, I tell people that all the time, and I've had to deal with that as well, where, you know, one of my friends or somebody was running around with the melee build and I had to just pick them up nonstop, and it was just annoying. You know, but with this build, like, you won't have that problem as much. You will get dropped, though. You know, he's a Geth. He will die. Like, I think it would be extremely hard to get a flawless with this guy, just in general, just because he has no health and so low of shields. Like I said, but in general, though, because he doesn't do the melee, because he's, you know, you do want to play this close range, though. Don't think that you can stay back across the map trying to do this. This gun, the Falcon, if you ever watched and you should actually watch my Falcon gameplay where I talk about how to use this gun the right way. I will go ahead and put a link in this video to that video if you haven't seen it yet, so check it out. But yeah, I'll just give you a quick, like, rundown of how to use this weapon. Like I said, there's two ways to do it. First thing is you want to play on host. That's one thing I never talked about in that video, which I have to now, because I never realized that this gun just sucks off host. But everyone, you know, I know that now. Everyone's been telling me that, yeah, this gun just does not work off host. It does not register right. So, you know, it's just something to think about. The other thing too, like I was saying, is that, you know, if you're going to try to use this, you need to do two things. Either bounce your grenades directly at them by bouncing them off the ground. Treat it like a brute shot from Halo, if you know anything about that. Or the other thing is just aim it directly at them and pull the trigger. Like, if you can hit them in the body with it, you'll always hit them. And at close range, this gun is amazing. From long range, though, it can, you know, that's going to be extremely difficult to actually pull that off from any type of range. It's really easy from short range, but it's just really hard from any long range. So yeah, this is definitely a close range weapon to try to try to play with. Maps like this map, like Glacier, is going to be, you know, fantastic for this. Things like that. You know, any big map, maybe not as much, but he will work on almost every map. So, you know, that's just something to also think about. You know, this will work on every map. You just gotta run to the spawns, and I mean, on big maps though, it will be annoying. I played him on Dagger. I played him on what's another big one, Giant and things. Well, not Giant, but mainly Dagger. Like, when I played him on Dagger, it was just really annoying because I had to constantly run, you know, around on their spawn, and yeah, I actually died quite a bit that game, and I was really, you know, it's kind of frustrating. But, you know, like I said, it did still work. It just didn't work as well as a smaller map like Firebase White or this map, or, you know, just in general. Like, it just doesn't work. I mean, look at that. Wow. Like, it's insane. It really is. Just You know, like I said, do not aim this gun in either, by the way. You just don't want to. And you really do need the fire rate from hunter mode to make this work, just because, like I said, without that 15% extra fire rate, this thing shoots 1 point every, like, 1.5 seconds, like, and with it only takes about 1 second to shoot. So, you know, it's a big difference for when you have to, you know, like I said, if you're trying to stay alive with a Geth or with this weak character like this, you need to be able to back them off of you, and this gun can really do it. You know, every hit will do that. It will just kind of like stun them or freeze them or do whatever the heck you're going to be doing. But, you know, like I said, it's fantastic before that, but it's also like, you know, it's also kind of a problem. Now, right there, that was really funny. She went flying. Like, that was awesome. But like I said, so definitely leave me a comment and also give this video a like, and I will try to bring out as soon as possible the game. Like I said, it's going to be Debuff City, where we're going to run around and just debuff the enemies to death, and I will be playing with this Geth Grenadier build for that. Probably more likely on this map, just because this map's definitely the best for this character, and you know, it's in general, I think this map's one of the easiest maps in the game, and it's one of my favorite ones in the entire game. Also, like I said, I will also be bringing out the Turian gameplay sometime this week. I will also be bringing out the Krogan gameplay. Just try to remember, the Krogan gameplay is going to be on Giant, and Turian gameplay is going to be on Condor. And I pretty much have decided, I believe, that more than likely we're going to be running around with 4 fast tins for the you know, for the Turian gameplay. Now, I don't know about the Krogan one yet, like what exactly we're going to be like playing with. Like I said, you know, I think we're gonna mix it up though. I think maybe one person can run around and use you know, the Claymore, and then maybe 2 other people might use Spike Thrower. I might even use the Striker Assault Rifle, because that gun works a lot like this. Is that gun is a like host only gun. It only really registers properly when you are host. And yeah, there's like, I don't know though. I've used that gun. I hate that gun. But if you guys really want to see that on gold, then I am willing to go ahead and use it. You know, like I said, I do everything for, you know, I do all these videos and stuff for you guys. Now right here, I forgot to bring this up, but I think earlier in this wave, or at the end of the last wave, once again Gold Pac-Man's lagged out or had the disk unreadable error. So right now I'm the only one left. The other guy got stomped out, unfortunately. But you know, like I said, as you could tell, like taking on the Atlas with this is just, it's kind of a slow process. So you really need your teammates to help you. I mean, if you have any teammates out, you know, any other teammates shooting it, I mean, it's fantastic, because the mine, with the combination of, you know, the mine doing a lot of damage, and then they take more damage. That's awesome. That's like amazing. You know, and you can just spam the mine, so your teammates are just gonna just wreck it, while you just rack up assist points on big enemies. But the main thing that this guy is gonna do is that he's gonna pretty much get his it's going to be able to kill most of the infantry, most of the smaller enemies, and, you know, just allow your teammates to, you know, you always should have characters like that on your team. Like, maybe one that's not that great at killing bosses. Like, I don't really think that the Batarian soldier is that good at killing bosses, but he's so good at killing the infantry, the small units, that if you have other characters that can easily take them out, the bosses and stuff, yeah, that's a great team right there. Now, one thing, by the way, actually, like right here, like this, like if you're like, I'm gonna get dropped, but as you can tell though, with the Guardian feed down there, is that like, yeah, you know, boom, like if you hit them with the proximity mine and stuff, you'll be able to just wreck them, you know, because they stun their shield, and then one shot from this should almost kill them, and or freeze them, things like that, and you can just mess them up. Like I said, this gun is a great gun against phantoms, just because it stuns the crap out of them, and it's fantastic. Like, look at that. She's getting stunned every shot, and then she finally just buckles up and dies. Like I said, like, we're still waiting for Pac-Man to get back in this game. This room right here that we're both sitting in is a fantastic room for this gun and this build, and also just in general. But for this build, that would be like the room of just, you know, I don't know, it's amazing. Like, if they build up outside the door, you can just constantly, you can see them coming, you can throw out your mine, and I mean, it would be a super camp fest. But I mean, hey, it would work really well. So why not take advantage of it? Anyway, so you know, like I said, hopefully everybody everybody will, you know, be ready. Like I said, those are probably going to be the majority of my videos. Like I said, more than likely I'm going to bring out the gold gameplay of this guy. I will also bring out the all Turian and all Krogan this week, and then of course the Fun with Guns episode 6, which is going to be the Javelin on the Geth Infiltrator. So, you know, yeah, just that's something you can watch out for. You know, but I really do appreciate all the support that I do get, so that's awesome. Like in my last video, I kind of like vented in a way, like complained a lot about how there's, you know, about trolls and things. Because the truth of it is that trolls really don't bother me, to be honest, guys. They really don't. But you know, it's just you know, it's just one of those things. Like I said, like it's only annoying because you know, I don't think that would ever stop, and you know, it's what it is. So I mean, at the same time though, like I said, like I do all this stuff for you guys, for my fans, for my subscribers, you know, whatever you want to call yourselves. And you know, like I will consistently always upload. I will consistently try to give you guys whatever content you want. Now, of course, after Mass Effect dies down, I mean, it will eventually. I will always do another game. So, you know, hopefully, you know, for anyone who's subscribed to me, like, if I ever do quit Mass Effect, because, you know, it will die. Like, Mass Effect is gonna die eventually. And when it does die, you know, like, I do all games, and I'm extremely good at every game I play. But at this point, I really think that, when it comes down to it, like, I believe that my field of, like, you know, I don't know, like, at least for the YouTube, I think that most people want to see RPG-like kind of games. Things that requires builds and tactics and strategy, and that right there was absolutely ridiculous. That was awesome. Now, like I said, so right at this point, just to get some extra points, I'm going to go ahead and now start doing my melees. I mean, look at this. Like, no matter what you do, this guy is a freaking beast with melees. I mean, it's outrageous. And the mine really does help you when you go for the melee, you know what I mean? Like, cause like that's pretty much what you do. Like, I never actually did this before with the, you know, with the melee build of this guy. I never really just ran around and hit him with the mine and then meleeed. But I wish I would have, because like, yeah, this is awesome. The mine stuns him, and then you get your melee off, and it's, look, in a matter of seconds I was able to get 15 melee kills. So that was pretty beastly. Go ahead and run over here and try to get him up if possible. Yeah, I really love this gun and this build for taking out turrets. It's so quick and so easy, and turrets, of course, can be just so annoying, like especially as the Geth Infiltrator and stuff. Now, I couldn't get a grab to save my life this game. It was kind of frustrating, but you know, sometimes I go for them, sometimes I don't. Like, you know, I can consistently get 5 grabs if I want to. But when you're playing with builds like this, where it's you know, you can see the purpose of it. It's just a, you know, clear out giant groups of enemies at once, like, because it really does. I mean, you'll freaking clear out a whole room in like about 1 second. I was playing with some of my friends, and they were just saying, like, is there even a point into trying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they were like pretty much talking about, was like, you know, they didn't even know if they should even try, because, like, you know, just the amount of damage that I was able to do compared to what they were able to do, it's just like you can't keep up. Like, you really can't. Like, I mean, that's the only thing that can make this guy kind of douchey, like I said. But it's kind of like the Batarian Soldier in a lot of ways. That's one reason I really like it, is because I love just running around and, you know, racking up giant kill, like, you know, multi-kills and things. Like, that's so much fun. And, you know, like I said, like, this just works so well. And the Batarian Soldier works well with this, and, well, not with this, of course, but just the Batarian Soldier works well at just killing, like, giant groups of enemies, and this guy works fantastic. So, you know, like, yeah, it's absolutely amazing and ridiculous. But alright, so that was the end of wave 10, you know, and then now we're going to be on wave 11, so this will be the extraction wave. Go ahead, you should always bust out your rocket, like, early on, because, you know, I'm going to immediately rocket, like, when this wave starts, just to try to get some kill streaks if possible. Alright, so right here I'm going to run down here. If you run right down here, most of the time you'll find the first Atlas and a giant group of enemies. And then if you run back up top, more than likely you will find another giant group. they will consistently spawn in that bottom room, and then in this room, and in this, area. I mean, that was so many kills right there. And I weakened the crap out that Atlas, so I'm gonna go ahead and take him out too. And then yeah, let's keep going though. So I'm really I really appreciate whoever like brought this up to me. I can't really tell you who it was, but someone did leave a comment and say, hey Jumpin', you should try out this build that I've been seeing on the forums. He told me who created the build, I just don't remember. But I mean, I don't know, like this is pretty genius, so I'm not gonna lie. So I really, if you guys ever have any builds or any like thing that you think I should try, any uniqueness, I will definitely like try it out for you guys. And if you send me a message or something, then yeah, I could probably give you a shout out about it. Now the only downside with this is that, like I said, this guy really didn't even know who created the build. It was more or less just like a hey, you should try out the Geth Grenadier, it's pretty cool. He didn't even give me the build. I just kind of like was like, okay, Geth Grenadier, obviously. Well, he told me it runs the Falcon, I know that, and proximity mine. I was like, alright, proximity mine Falcon, I think I got it. Like I kind of understood it, so it wasn't really too bad. Alright, we got 20 seconds left. They're getting dropped over here, so I'm going to run over here and help them out if possible, and then pretty much finish this up. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. It was unfortunate that pack, if you have a teammate lagging out or quitting out the game by whatever reason, like it sucks because you're going to lose a lot of experience and stuff, but I just know this is that I have a really ridiculous score at the end of this game. It's pretty outrageous for silver. So yeah, definitely check that out. But besides that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Watch out for my other videos that will be coming out throughout this week. And so please comment, please like, please subscribe, and like always, have a nice day.